In this video, we will cover everything you could possibly need to know about the tax-free savings account, the TFSA, one of the best investing accounts in the world. I've been investing since they began in 2009, and I'm passionate about sharing their value with other Canadians. There are timestamps below for every single question or topic that we answer. Please navigate to the most pressing questions you have. Who am I, and why do I have a bag on my head? If you want to find out more, hit the link above. But I am a Canadian investor who looks to do deep dive research on companies and invest in my highest convictions. This approach has earned me about a 29% compound annual growth rate in my TFSA since 2009 when I started investing. I want to briefly share that this video is sponsored by PolicyMe. If you're a younger Canadian and you're starting to get more responsibilities in life, it could be a great idea to consider getting life insurance. PolicyMe is a very simple to use and digitally friendly platform. You can easily find out what kind of coverage you may need and get a quote. Super simple process. I recommend you check it out if you're considering life insurance. Okay, on to earning tax-free gains. What is a TFSA? The tax-free savings account should really be called a tax-free investing account. It started in 2009. Money going into the account has already been taxed, but money inside the account can grow tax-free. And you can compound investments indefinitely and tax-free inside of the account. What can I hold in my TFSA? You can hold all sorts of things: cash, GICs, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, and stocks. Am I eligible to contribute to a TFSA? You have to be 18 years of age or older, you have to be Canadian, and you have to live in Canada. What if I move to another country? If you become a non-resident, you're able to maintain your TFSA and you will not be taxed on any earnings or withdrawals in the account. However, you will not be allowed to contribute additional funds and no contribution room will accrue for the years in which you are living outside of Canada. How much can I contribute to my TFSA? Your cumulative contribution limit can be checked on the CRA website. Make sure to double check that CRA amount makes sense with your own account activities. Each year, your cumulative limit grows by a set amount. The amount per year has changed over time. Whenever you make a withdrawal, that amount withdrawn is added to your total contribution room January 1st of the next calendar year. For example, if you have your TFSA maxed out at, say, $90,000, but then you withdraw $40,000 to make a down payment on a house, then the next calendar year you would have $40,000 plus $6,000 or $46,000 in contribution room that you could make. Or in the above example, if you had never bought the house, the next year you would have $6,000 in contribution room. Also, any unused contribution room in 1 year carries forward into the next year. Another common mistake is when someone withdraws money from their TFSA and then deposits it into a separate TFSA account in the same year. You'll be charged interest for this mistake if you are over your contribution room. What if I go over my TFSA limit? A tax of 1% per month applies to the overcontribution only if it remains in your TFSA in the same calendar year. The change of year marks the entry into a new period of contribution, in other words, the right to continue contributing during the new year. For example, if you deposit $1,000 in excess in your TFSA in December of 2022, you will be required to pay 1% of that amount in taxes, or $10 for the month of overcontribution, as a penalty. This $1,000 will be deducted from your contribution room in January 2023. It will no longer be considered excess. I transfer money from one TFSA to another TFSA. Yes, you can transfer between your own accounts directly. Just make sure it is done as a transfer through your banking or through your brokerage institution and not as a withdrawal and then a separate deposit. If you do the withdrawal deposit method, it will affect your contribution room for that calendar year, while a transfer will not. Can I hold US stocks in my TFSA? Yes, I did a popular video on why you should consider investing in the US market. See link above. It should be noted though that while US stocks are okay to hold, you will have to pay a 15% withholding tax that will automatically be removed by your broker on any dividend payments that stocks you're owning pay to you. Are TFSAs for short-term savings or for retirement? A TFSA can be used for both. Its main advantage remains the compound return that accumulates over time, sheltered from taxes. Are contributions tax deductible? No, nor can you deduct interest on money borrowed to make a contribution. How are TFSAs different from RRSPs? You make TFSA contributions with money on which you've already paid tax. What's inside grows tax-free. But RRSP's contributions give you a tax break when you put the money in, but then you have to pay tax when you take the money out later on in retirement. Can I transfer money from an RRSP to a TFSA? Not directly. You must withdraw from the RRSP, pay the applicable fees or taxes, and then deposit the money into the TFSA. How is the successor holder different from the beneficiary of a TFSA? Only your survivor, your spouse, or common law partner can be named as a successor holder. In the event of your death, that person becomes the new account holder, which remains active. The new holder may then retain the two separate TFSAs or transfer the value of the account to the TFSA that he or she already held without reducing his or her own contribution room. Anyone can be named beneficiary of your TFSA. Upon your death, the TFSA will be closed and the funds it contains will be paid to the beneficiary. The operation is, however, more complex than a simple change of ownership. After I die, will the money in my TFSA be taxable? When you die, your TFSA's tax-free status will end unless it's rolled over to your spouse, and your beneficiary or your estate, if you haven't named a beneficiary, will be taxed on any investment income or interest earned after the day you die. Your beneficiary or the executor of your estate will have to pay this tax or arrange for it to be paid out of your estate by the end of the calendar year following the year you die. Can I open a joint TFSA? No, only individual accounts are allowed. You can, however, open a TFSA in your spouse's name and contribute in his or her name. For example, a single income couple can double its tax-sheltered savings. Can I open a TFSA for my kids? Not until they are 18 years old. Once they are 18, an account can be opened in their name, and you can give them money to put into the account. What happens to my TFSA if my marriage or common law partnership breaks down? You may transfer the assets in a TFSA between spouses or common law partners if the marriage or partnership breaks down. This transfer won't create contribution room for the transferring spouse, and it won't reduce contribution room for the receiving spouse. How many TFSA accounts can I have? As many as you like, but you likely don't need more than one or two accounts. What if I lose money in a TFSA? If you do lose money, then you will permanently lose that contribution room. The losses cannot be written off as a tax deduction. How often can I trade inside of a TFSA? The CRA has said that TFSA investments have to be passive investments and not active ones. Unfortunately, there are no clear rules by the CRA in the area, but if you are day trading and actively trading back and forth inside of a TFSA account and are successful at it, the CRA may determine it to be a business income and not a savings account. How do I open a TFSA? Questrade and Wealthsimple are both great platforms for TFSA investing. I have video tutorials with sign-up bonuses for each of those platforms. See links above or in the description.